All right, I just gotta make sure if I can see Telegram here. So there's the Telegram group. They're not gonna see it up here, but the folks at home can see this.
I've got this whole.
I'm lost.
It might be a bit
actually, I
dangerous to
wasn't
put up live.
Oh,
It's okay.
Last
We're running an
Thank
R-rated
you.
show here.
Have you done this? So you can do that.
You- you're an R-rated show. This is
Oh.
not functioning. Gary, what's
We
up?
should have done that in rehearsal.
What is up with this? Is not hitting there's no submit button.
This thing.
Hello. I'm on. Maybe.
I don't know.
They're working.
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
I don't know.
No, you can make me do this again.
You need a sound guy.
I don't think there's.
I need a producer, man. It's like a one-man band here. All right.
What, you've only just noticed?
Holy cow, we got a full house tonight. You guys ready to get this party started?
Yes.
All right, it's 5:02. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the filter number 102. We've got a good show for you. I think it's called, is it Scaling Mount Bitcoin? Yes, yes, we've had all kinds of interesting debates online about whether Bitcoin is full. We're going to touch on that topic a little bit. We're going to also visit India and a little bit on China. And we are going to also have a guest appearance from our man, Willie Woo. You ready? You ready for blast off here, Will?
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and, oh, by the way, we've got a Telegram group opened right now. There's a link on the Facebook group. If you want to chat with us on Telegram, it's a little bit of an experiment, but we're going to try and break halfway through and see if there's any questions online, and hopefully it will be rated PG, but I'm not sure yet. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hey, folks, I'm going to share my screen with the people at home, and we'll
It's the one with the spreadsheet. That's the one there.
Okay. All right, team effort. There we go. All right. Bitcoin filter number 102, scaling Mount Bitcoin. That's JP climbing Mount Bitcoin there.
My ponytail.
Yeah. We're coming to you live from Hubud, the hub in Ubud. That's what it stands for. How many people knew that? Hub in Ubud, isn't that clever? All right. We're sitting in the air-conditioned room. There's a packed house tonight. Welcome, everybody. After the show tonight, we are going to go to Kismet. We're going to magically turn some Bitcoins into beer at Kismet tonight, directly following the show. We should be there by about 6:30 local time. Bitcoinsandbali.org is where we manage our operations, our online operations, and it just so happens that this weekend, Saturday, the 26th of November, we've got our Bitcoin 101. We've got about 15 or 16 people registered already. That's the most we've had this early before Bitcoin 101. Is this thing working? Come on, internet. Yeah, we get together. Bring us your noobs. Send us your Bitcoin newbies. We assume they know nothing about Bitcoin. They will show up. We will talk about the what, when, and why. We'll even talk about a little bit of where, because after they've learned about Bitcoin and got a little Bitcoin on their phone, we're going to go and patronize a local Bitcoin accepting merchant to have lunch together. So it's a fun morning. If any of you guys want to crash the party, you're welcome to join too. You Bitcoin pros, you can help me answer some questions. I'm always shocked and surprised in a very pleasant way about the people that show up at Bitcoin 101 and what they want to talk about. You know, things like, can I launder money with Bitcoin? What is my wife going to know about this money? And anyway, it's a lot of fun. Come check it out. All right, when we're not here together, we would all like to be together all the time, but it's just not possible. So when we're not together on Tuesday night, We get together online in the Bitcoins in Bali Facebook group, and we kind of crowdsource the news. We try and get folks in the group to post the latest and greatest Bitcoin news in the group, and then when we get together on Tuesday night, we talk about it. That's why you guys are all here. Bitcoin economy, they want to shut us down. The timing is no coincidence. All right, we're back online here. Hey, folks. And 3 Bitcoin merchants around Ubud. And the rolling 7-day average is at 9.8 on this day. This week we had, this is Tuesday. This is when we all go out together and spend Bitcoin as a group. We had 10 large Bitcoin transactions on that day. But you can see not every day is as active. We're still getting started. Our little economies, but I think it's, you can see it happening. You can see things going on. You can affect the Bitcoin economy in Ubud. Tonight we're going to go to Kismet, and tomorrow you can check this graph, and it's going to be huge. Huge. Big league. Big league.
Huge. Those two were mine.
All right. Let's take a look at we're in Indonesia, right? And that's the first interesting thing to look at. Whoa, I don't even know how to read that number. It's so huge.
That's called 10 million.
10 million IDR for one Bitcoin in Indonesia. But most people are used to thinking about it in terms of USD. Here's USD, $745.95. What you got, Will? Is that
that's world price. It's above it. It's like
Bitcoin.
1.
Is Bitcoin? Are you saying Bitcoin average is pumping? Should we check another?
Just checking the IDR price in world price.
I wonder how they get that. Sometimes, especially when the price is moving a lot, the price lags, or there's a larger difference between Indonesia and other places. I don't know if these guys get their feed from an actual Indonesian price source, or if they triangulate with other currencies. It's not clear.
Well, this one by Google is from, I think it's Bitstamp, and then they convert it.
That's their.
This is what I'm looking at here, right?
Right.
So I don't know.
That's what Google.
That looks like it's.
Google thinks it's less than 10. You think it's more?
Because that's actually the Bitstamp price before it is added. So Indonesia is about 1.5% more expensive
than the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Does that mean our hamburger tonight's going to be like 1.5% more expensive? Good thing we get 10% off, huh? That's plus 8%, right? I forgot to mention that we get
it's a discount.
It's a discount night if you pay with Bitcoin. Yeah, well, it's always interesting because people, when we do Bitcoin 101, there's your phone's version of the price and there's the merchant's version of the price, and inevitably they're a little bit different. And the people that are real things, they want to know why that is. And it's basically, you never really, there are different markets in different places, those different places have different frictions involved with people trading in Bitcoin, and that often reflects in the price. It's just a different opinion. It's kind of like haggling, right? When you go down here to the Ubud market and you want to buy like a, I don't know, a really interesting bottle opener,
Oh,
no. Yeah, that's a unique item.
You bought a lot, I take it.
You gotta haggle. Don't pay retail for one of those bottle openers. Do not pay retail. All right, so anyway, moving on. Here's the Bitcoin time machine. Last week at this time, we were down around what, 711 US dollars, and we took a big price jump in the middle of the week, and now we're up at 736, 738, something in there. So if you bought Bitcoin last week Tuesday, and at Kismet tonight, you get a further discount because you bought low and you're going to sell high, right? And I just want to remind you guys, you cannot eat or drink Bitcoins. You have to convert them first, and then okay. Right, volatility, you can see volatility, we were trying to get under 1% according to this volatility rubric that we've been checking for the last year, and now we're just off the scales. Bitcoin is whipsawing all over the place, the price is up and down. There's all kinds of things pushing the Bitcoin price around. We're going to get to some of that in a minute. What is going on with my... These guys are seeing what I'm seeing.
They're just getting audio.
Let's try this.
It might be just switching its speed.
Could be.
Oh, you've got it's blocked there. Can you really enable it?
This thing? It's this thing. Sorry, guys. Here we go. This will work. All right.
Yeah,
you guys ever seen this, the Bitcoin clock? And we haven't looked at this in a while because the last time we were paying attention to it, the minute hand was right here around midnight. That's when we had the last Bitcoin halving. But something else significant has happened. Does anyone else know what has happened recently? What has happened with Bitcoin time marking? What kind of Bitcoin significant event happened just earlier today? Nobody knows? Block 440,000, 16 million Bitcoins in existence. Ooh. 16 million. We rolled the odometer, the Bitcoin odometer, only 5 million Bitcoins left. Fine.
Dun, dun.
Yes, we've got to grow Bitcoin with we've only got 5 million more Bitcoins to spend on the Bitcoin network before all of that needs to be supported by the fee marketplace.
And half of them are coming in the next 4 years.
Half of them are coming in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So 2.5 million.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. All right, here are our Bitcoin transactions. You can see that we are approaching 300,000 transactions per day. And as we've been talking about lately, and again today, the called scaling Mount Bitcoin. This is Mount Bitcoin, right? We've got our ice pick. We're trudging up the mountain. We're getting a little bit tired, and here we are. We're almost at the apex of Mount Bitcoin here, and we're kind of bumping our head, right? Check this out. We looked at this graph last week, and hopefully it looks a little bit different to you.
Yes.
This is a real-time look at the Bitcoin blockchain. Read that here, but like you can see that the size there, 988, 999, 999. They're just shy of 1 megabyte because we've got a 1 megabyte block limit on Bitcoin, right? Blue line here represents the transactions that are waiting to get into the next block. So this is the number of transactions that are making it into a block, and these are the transactions that are waiting to get into the next block. So there's a backlog. There's a traffic jam on the Bitcoin network, right? And all these people that are interested in getting involved with Bitcoin, it's only going to get worse, right? Now, how many people use Bitcoin or used Bitcoin earlier today? Right. Did you guys have a problem?
Yeah, it's stuck.
Yeah, do you happen to know what you paid in Bitcoin fees for your transaction?
Maybe around about 100,000 associated.
100,000, but was it a complex transaction? Did your wallet figure it out for you?
It's like $100, right?
Well, we use Electrum and we use the dynamic set, but every time it spikes like this, we got to manually set it. So probably to be averaged about 70.
Okay. So you forgot to toggle the thing, and
yeah, because it does it dynamically, but it can't handle it when it's spiked.
it's too dynamic. I've got that problem myself. All right. Well, here's the oldest transactions in the mempool are from the 19th of November. Last time the oldest one was the 12th of November. So I mean, you're gonna get your money in a few days. I mean, it's gonna catch up, right? The thing that we've seen with the Bitcoin network is things catch up eventually, but because the network is so jam-packed, sometimes we have to wait. And you know what you'll see tonight when we go over to Kismet and buy a little bit of food with Bitcoin, they're going to acknowledge your payment right away. So it's not like you have to wait several days before Kismet will let you leave. You know, you can wash dishes at Kismet if your bill doesn't go through. I found that out the hard way. But yeah, because they acknowledge, it's such small transactions, they let you leave, and the Bitcoin network will acknowledge that the transaction has been sent. So that still happens like immediately. Selling a boat or, you know, transacting a large amount of money, you probably have to wait until those confirmations come in, and that's where the delay is happening. A large spike in the number of transactions lately. That's because it's Transaction Tuesday. These are all taking place in Ubud. All these.
Right here.
No, I don't know why there's a lot of transactions on the network. Does anyone have any idea why that's going on?
Right.
India.
Yeah.
India.
Do you think it's India? Ooh, is it?
Right.
Yeah. Here's the mempool transaction.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, usually it's just China, right? Because you hit there.
Because China.
It's always because it's China.
I don't know. I honestly don't know why there was a spike in transaction volume. But you can see this is going back several days. We've exponential. Well, yeah, more than a doubling in the number of transactions. So it's possible that somebody is spamming the network in the past. There's a lot of debate. You know, all these technology people are fighting over how to fix this. And some people have had tantrums in the past and decided to spam the Bitcoin network. Yes.
It's too expensive to spam.
Well, it's spam.
It's too expensive to spam it right now.
Well, you can submit transactions that don't have any fee, or you can make a bunch of Bitcoin. You can break up a bunch of transactions and publish a bunch of private keys. Then whoever grabs the private keys claims the Bitcoin.
Right.
And that's how they've done it in the past as well. I'm no expert on spamming the Bitcoin network, but I know it's possible.
Sounded very authoritative there.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. But anyway, this is a problem. Look at all these blocks are full. This is 1 meg right here. All the past 6 blocks were pegged right at 1 meg. We're at the red line. There's no more room in the Bitcoin network. And a lot of people are upset about that. But we'll see if we encounter any problems buying Kismet tonight.
Pretty popular demand.
Here. This is I pulled this up here because this is what I paid on a fee for my transaction earlier today. 10 cents for a regular transaction, and I'm used to paying like 3, 4, 5 cents. That's what we've seen in the past, and you know, my figures this out dynamically. Here's a little bit of a dynamic view of the fees, And essentially, you don't pay Bitcoin fees based on how much value you're transferring. Dollars could be $5. It doesn't matter to Bitcoin. It only matters a little bit, right? Per kilobit within the transaction. And you can see that if you're less than about 60 or 70, which is the smallest unit of Bitcoin possible per kilobit, then you're going to have a delay, right? And here's the delay time. But if you pay enough, you should still clear in up to 30 minutes. Anyway, it's just a matter of paying enough money. Apparently, you with the Electrum wallet, you're just too cheap. You didn't want to pay the extra 3 or 4 cents that it was going to take. I'm kidding. Graph. Let's see. Can you guys see that? This is the total transaction fees in U.S. dollars, and it's hard to see this graph because of this guy. Does anyone remember what happened here? Somebody paid a very large fee.
Is that a mistake?
Yes. Somebody must have created a transaction manually. Maybe they switched the fee for the amount they were sending.
Amount fee. Wow.
Yes.
There's a
Computers, they're so literal. Don't they know what we mean?
Holy shit! Imagine being the miner. Jackpot.
Yes, they were happy. They were happy to find that block.
They refunded that though. Didn't they exchange assets?
Don't bring on our parade, Michael.
I think nice.
No,
Really? Did they?
I did hear that too.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, who was this? We just got this huge fee."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, that's cool.
Was it a Chinese miner or?
I think it was all U.S.
I think it was F2.
F2 pool, was it? Well, we can't go back and fix my graph though. This thing throws this thing all out of skew. But what you will see here is is exponential growth that miners are making with fees. Right? It doesn't look very interesting. It looks kind of like a flat line, but here we are at about 1,000. Here we get to 20,000, and we're already at around 40,000 here. And you can look at this on a logarithmic scale.
2 years or something.
And let's see here. And you can see that it's going from 10,000 to 100,000.
Yeah.
That's
So even though that's kind of a boring graph.
Yeah, that's all time. That shows the slope.
Yeah. So this is what you can see, that you can really see, because this is a logarithmic graph, right? So 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million. And you can still see it growing even though each of these lines is an order of magnitude larger. Slope. You can see a slope there, right? That's called exponential growth. So these miners should be happy, making more money over time. And the original vision was that instead of making new Bitcoins every 10 minutes, that would diminish and the fees would go up. And that's what we're seeing, which is everything's going according to plan. Who's this handsome devil? All right, we got Willy Woo in the house. You ready, Will? Do this. We got number
4 trillion is online, and then all of retail there is 27. So these are all growing, but these are the size of each economy, and so if you say that's the size of the economy, which is, you know, we've got to take a guess at what the money supply is. And can you jump to one of the next slides? The M2 money velocity. Yeah, that's Fred. Yeah, this is the US velocity as reported by the Federal Reserve numbers.
I don't like it when graphs do this. What's
Yeah.
going on here?
Ooh.
So that's really telling. See how velocity just plummeted in 2008? That means consumers lost confidence and are saving and holding on to their money and they're not spending it. All of this printing of money we've seen is to pump up this equation. They subscribe to this theory of money, and because velocity has dropped, they have had to introduce more money to keep their GDP up.
So this is the string they're pushing on.
They're pushing on the string, yeah.
You can't force people to spend
They're
their
trying
money.
to pump this money in, but people aren't spending. And yeah, so, but you know, I just came in here to grab a number, which looks like about 1.7 historical, when things were normal, was 1.7. And M2 is hard cash plus savings and check accounts. So that's, you can see its frequency quarterly above that graph. Every 3 months, all of people's savings accounts are spent 1.7 times. If we use that as an estimate for M2 in a Bitcoin economy, you know, Bitcoin's used as savings and spending. And this is in a hypothetical case where we're actually using it for commerce and not just store of value. We can say, go back to the spreadsheet, please. We can say velocity of money equals, let's go, equals 1.7 multiplied by 4 quarters in a year. Is there a lag? 6.8. So I'm going to fill that in with 6.8. Okay. And then, so M equals, M times V equals PT. So I'll just divide.
So you're doing this equation.
Maybe can I jump on your thing? Because like
I can get it all looking really
real time here. Here we go. That looks a bit better, right? So we can go equals, and we can go to that figure and divide by the velocity, and that should give us our money supply. So this is how much money supply that needs to be in there to support the economy at that velocity level, right? And so all the value of money supply should be there if Bitcoin consumes these economies. And as we know, we've got a pretty good figure of how many coins will be in existence by the end of 2020. And I did the sums, and it was 18.5 million. We're at 16 million now.
Are you going to tell us what the price of Bitcoin will be in 2020?
Yeah, sure. Assuming. Yeah.
Question.
Why did you multiply the velocity by 4?
Because the velocity we read off the graph was quarterly.
It's a ratio.
It's 1.7 times of circulation every 4 months, and we're looking for every 3 months, and we want every year, so multiply by 4. So it's just it's a churn number. So I shall divide our monetary base by how many tokens we're going to spread that over, which is 18 million. And hey presto, we get $32,000 and some change on if Bitcoin takes over all online commerce,
That's 100%.
like all 100% of online commerce, it'll value at $32,000 based on this level of velocity. So, and you can follow that through below, and you get these values.
All online retail, all global retail,
And
world.
world GDP, which is actually quite a different figure because like we did this 2 years ago, and we said, what if Bitcoin replaced money, M2 money, and it was what, $1 million or $2 million?
Yeah, it was
Something
over
like
$1 million because I know people have thrown that figure around.
Yeah, so
Only 744,000.
the error would be the velocity.
Yeah, I think I've done some calculations in the past, but I didn't account for the velocity.
Yeah.
Would that drive the price up or down? If you didn't account.
If
for
you
the
have more velocity, you need less money.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
That was
good,
my error.
Good velocity is pretty healthy.
That was my my optimistic omission. I like to call that.
All right, so now we can look at how much gain we can get, all you hodlers. That's our number. That's our 44 number. We've got a 44 times potential growth.
43x, 44x, 43.6x.
Yeah. It consumes all online commerce, which I think it has a fair shot at. The other two, which I still think there's a fair shot at.
but likely it would be hopefully it'll be some combination of online and global, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But the mix will change obviously between now and then.
Because of Kismet, right?
Yeah, because of Kismet and all the other fine
Chunk of
retail
Bitcoin.
establishments.
Drugs
And
were buying it online. Yeah, I mean dark markets alone.
so that's pretty amazing. How many people think that that's like outrageous? Like, yeah. Okay, so like, what would you like? I know we're
right?
what's that?
Like infeasible. Unlikely that it's going to get this time.
Yeah. What do you think is going to keep that from happening? Like, well, I mean, obviously you're not going to get 100% of online retail, right? There's going to be,
Inertia.
but you could get some. You could get some bricks and mortar retail, possibly. You could get some remittance stuff. So this is too pie in the sky. I think
Remittance isn't actually a lot too.
There's a mistake in the whole calculations because the loss. This is the definition of the loss. You know, it depends on the amount of money you have, activity, and so on. Then you take. It's just a number which is produced from all else. You cannot say the velocity. The normal velocity for the world is so much. That's why the velocity in America falls down because they print so much money in the last 10 years that you cannot turn this money so many times. You know, it's a huge amount of money. That's why the velocity is just a product of all these things which happen. So you cannot say there is a natural level of velocity in the world. You know, if you have a lot of money supply, you will have low velocity as it is happening now. So, but if you ask me, I think the price is very reasonable. So if it's
the velocity is a measure of exactly goods and services divided by 18.5 million gives you velocity.
Yeah, and then you go there and say, okay, the velocity is going to be 7, okay, per year. We're going to turn this Bitcoin 7 times per year, which is backwards thinking.
Yeah,
you know,
I see what
so
you're saying,
if you have little small amount of Bitcoins, the velocity is going to be very high, you know, because everybody uses Bitcoin and then you need to use them many times in order to serve the economy. That's why you cannot say there is a natural level of velocity and then make all these calculations.
But there's no small amount or big amount.
Yeah, it's
velocity is just a product of all other things that you cannot say the velocity is this.
If I say to you the money supply is 1 Bitcoin in 2020, 1 Bitcoin.
Yes.
Okay.
The velocity will be enormous.
And I said the all online, so let's say all GDP, which is whatever it is within fiat, but we're not using fiat because it's been displaced by that 1 Bitcoin.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So if it's say $93 trillion,
Yes.
okay, and there's only 1 Bitcoin, okay.
Because we forgot our password.
Yes.
Yes. What will be
What is the
what will be
velocity?
the
How many times do I have to spend that Bitcoin?
what is the price of the Bitcoin. You need to know the price of the Bitcoin. If the price of the Bitcoin is 1 million, you need to spend it 93 times, to get.
If that Bitcoin is worth, say, 93 trillion.
Yes.
So it's one, right? Velocity
Yes.
one. If I see the price that Bitcoin is worth half of 93 trillion, it's 2 velocity, right?
Yes, exactly.
So yeah.
So, but you cannot say the normal velocity is 6.8.
Do you know what percent of all online retail is currently Bitcoin now? So it's only 4 years.
Very
away.
tiny. It's tiny.
It's like less
So
than 1%.
these are the disclaimer on this is we're just using 2020 because we can get some figures, but it's most likely beyond that. But in this scenario that we're trying to calculate the absolute cap ceiling, and so they are extreme numbers, but extreme numbers are good because you can put a cap and you can, now you can say, I can, some people say I'm going to make 1 million times on my Bitcoin. At least you can say, no, you can only make 1,000 times, and that's useful.
What about the effect of that 1 megawatt cap? If you're doing
Oh, the one meg cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a question I had. Did you do
all online retail,
Did you look at the transaction throughput at that velocity?
like how high would
Yeah,
that
that'd be
transaction-
interesting, actually.
Yes.
How high would the transactions cost?
Oh yeah, what would the transaction? If we kept 1 megabyte, how much would you?
I think that all online transactions would account for about 5 to 10,000 transactions per second. Was it? No, 1 to 2. It's VisaNet. Hey, VisaNet.
This is like, I don't know.
It's within the realms of VisaNet.
First of all, you have this currency, Bitcoin. You're assuming that there will be no competing currency in 4 or 5 years from now. If you have competing currencies,
But there are thousands of competing currencies
exactly.
right now.
Yeah, there are. But if something can compete with Bitcoin in e-commerce, I mean, how much e-commerce happens in competing currencies? Most of it is in Bitcoins. One thing. Second, other thing is, let's say euro bills. They're discussing 500 euro bills and 1,000 euro bills could be canceled, demonetized.
They would never do that.
They don't always So what happens is, so the theory in economics, if you have bad money drives out good money, everybody will hold
Gresham's law.
Yeah, everybody will hold $100 bills, and they'll get rid of 500 and 1,000. So bad money drives out good money. That's another theory. And secondly, this could probably reach 5% in the next 4 years at the most in e-commerce, from current under 1%.
Yeah, I think they'd be optimistic.
So if bad money drives out good money, and if this goes to 10,000, 20,000, people won't be spending it. People will be spending dollars, knowing that this is going up. So bad money, which is paper money, will drive out good money, and Bitcoin becomes a hoarding currency, not a transactional currency at that time.
It's already like this, I think. It's a holding currency.
That's right.
Only,
That is right now.
only the people in Ubud, they spend it like 35 times a year.
this could go on.
This is-
like,
this is
if
not
you
good
had-
for
if you
the
had-
global economy?
if you
Higher
had
price goes, the more people hold.
if you had a end game scenario and you've got like, say everyone's got Bitcoin, they're hoarding it,
Well, that decreases the velocity by holding.
and
There's no
then
velocity anymore.
and then you've got like, because everyone's got Bitcoin, you assume they're going to accept it. Unless you're earning in fiat, like you'd probably put everything in Bitcoin because Bitcoin by then would have relatively low volatility. So it's like having a high interest account versus a low interest in fiat. And if you can spend from it, then that would eventually drive commerce.
The thing is, the velocity of money is based on
Yeah, velocity of money is exactly. If
Based
you're holding,
on-
the velocity collapses.
paper and coin as well. It's
Yeah.
not researched. It's not the models. The multipliers are not for a digital currency. So when you're dealing with Federal Reserve notes, you have international wires that may take days to settle. You've got people with cash in their hand, coins in their pocket, M1, M2. You got all these things, and Bitcoin, no matter what you do, except for some of the transactional fee things, you have a set amount of time. Like this, I can send from Thailand to Canada right away. But those models that you're using in the multipliers are not set up for that. So that ×4 doesn't apply to cryptocurrencies. It applies to cash in your pocket and wire transactions at banks.
In the case that there's fiat, I'd agree. In the case where we're maxing out, like even online retail, I think if the convenience is there, then people would use there's compelling reason to use Bitcoin over a credit card.
Well, you know, we've lived in deflationary scenarios for other industries. The electronics industry, you know, your computer's going to be obsolete next year. It's going to be half as expensive and twice as fast. But we still buy new computers because you can't compute with your bank account balance. You need a computer to compute, right?
Yeah,
and I made the point earlier. You need to
that's
eat.
just one
You can't
class.
eat your
Right,
your
that's one
bitcoins.
thing, consumer electronics. But if you're buying a $500,000 home and you know it's going to be 400,000 next year, you'll wait.
You live on the street.
You will rent. You won't. For computer, you can't procrastinate your purchases of food. But for house, you can. For a big car, you can.
Computer, you can.
I expect.
What about MaidSafe?
Are you saying that people are going to stop flipping houses? That sounds terrible.
This is working. All right. I'm just gonna finish this very, very quickly. What's the velocity off the top of your head, anybody? M1 velocity, US.
Per how long? Per what are we talking about? Per
Now
quarter?
that I plug it in.
Per year?
M1 velocity, which is hard cash. We can.
Do we know?
Should we find that?
Do you have that?
I'll just grab it. M1 velocity for is 6. It's a value of 6 quarterly, so 24 annually. So it's M1 is 24. So MaidSafe, do you guys know what it is? It's
a competitor to Bitcoin. It's remaking the internet with technology so that you've got a new name service, new storage, new.
It's not really. It's more a competitor to cloud computing. So you've got storage, you've got compute, and you can actually, it actually allows you to run or code a software as a service product within its platform, and it's very secure, and it's got a token, which is a MAID token, and so I had a look at the market size of that, and Gartner did this thing, which came to 403 billion, which is the accumulation of all cloud services like Amazon EC2 servers, that sort of stuff, as well as SaaS products, and that's an estimate for 2020. And then running the same numbers, I can just pump them through. And the number of coins that they're going to have is 2 to the power of 32. So that many coins, they're going to come up good. And actually, when you're talking, you guys are talking about, well, we'll spend fiat instead of bitcoins. In this case, it's probably a much more realistic valuation because you need the token to use those services. Throw that in. And so these are the peak values for MaidSafe. And it's on the right there, which is $7, 7 cents, just over 7 cents.
So it's 7 cents today, and
But what is the price today? Oh,
7
7 cents. Yeah.
So that's a 50 times growth for the MAID network, and that's assuming a M1 kind of situation. On M2 situation, it's like people are hoarding it. They're going to speculate on the currency going up, and there's a lot of holders. And, that would boost it up to $13.80. And you can look at this and you can think, what are the chances of MaidSafe displacing all of cloud computing? And I'd say it's a long shot right now because no one's using it. It's still in beta. No, it's not even in beta. It's in alpha.
Yeah.
So it's got a long way to go. It's kind of a very, very long odds thing to get your 51x. Well, Bitcoin, if you believe these numbers, you can have a guess of the risk required to hold to get all online retail, and it's still probably long odds, but I'd say it's a lot less than say something like MaidSafe. So immediately you can get a kind of a feel for the risk return.
Well, I'd settle for half that. I'll take a 20x return by 2020. How about that? Can we arrange that? 20x return by 2020?
For
nice
Bitcoin?
round numbers?
For Bitcoin?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
doable.
settle for half, yeah.
That's doable.
Okay. All right. I need that to be true so that my mom will loan me the money that I need to loan me as Bitcoin collateral. So don't rain on my parade. All right. Thanks, Will. That was cool. That was very cool. Let's see. All right.
Peter says, are you going to share the screen anytime soon?
I tried to share the
It's jumping
screen.
in and out.
I tried to share the screen, but it's complaining about that. Let me try one more time.
Oh, you can close it.
Any questions on the Telegram? That's all.
Oh, it's working again. Cool. Okay, now it looks like it's working. Hopefully those guys can see the screen now. Are there any questions in the Telegram group? Has anybody been watching Telegram?
I've been watching it. Not much.
Okay. All right, guys. Time to come back down to earth, right? Bitcoin is not going to go 44x. This is a totally suspect number because Bitcoin was supposed to change the world. What happened? This is Vox.com declaring Bitcoin is dead.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is dead. Long live Bitcoin. Here's the naysayers. Bitcoin was supposed to render financial institutions obsolete, but we still got Bank of America. We've still got Deutsche Bank. We've still got well, not much longer. Deutsche Bank's in trouble. Bitcoin was supposed to render financial institutions obsolete. You're supposed to have a bank on your phone. What's the problem here, guys? Has Bitcoin failed?
No.
Yeah.
User interface has failed.
The user interface. We just need a better user interface. Maybe we will. Maybe it's just too soon to render financial institutions obsolete. Actually, we may never render financial institutions obsolete. I think maybe they'll just up their game a little bit. I think it's an industry ripe for disruption, and they could do a much better job and charge us much lower fees and even be nicer to us when we call them. So I don't know. In a way, we're shaking things up, but yeah, I don't think that was always the goal. And even if it was, it's a little too early. There's been little to show for the $1 billion in venture capital investment. What do we think of this assertion? Bitcoin's worth about $12 billion. Would it have been better to just buy some Bitcoin rather than try and start a Bitcoin company? I think maybe that's true.
I think the assertion's kind of impatient because like these investments came in what 2 to 3 years ago.
Yes.
And startups take longer to reach traction.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a little bit not fair to say that we're going to stick a fork in it and our.
You look at Amazon. You know, how many years did they
I don't think they're even profitable now, are they? Oh, they have a lot of revenue.
They're just growing like wildfire.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 years. They're choosing not to.
That's true. So I think that's true of Trump too. He doesn't have any profit. Okay, what else are these guys saying? Bitcoin never resolved its constitutional crisis. What are they referring to here? Constitutional crisis.
It's like it's in the past.
This is actually I mean,
right now.
even though they're saying Bitcoin is dead, I mean, I think this is an anti-Bitcoin article. It's interesting to look at these things because, you know, even though it might not be true, we can take a look at what they're saying and think about it for a second. And I think if anything is going to bring Bitcoin down, it's probably the governance model or lack of a governance model. You know, we just can't make decisions. As we discussed earlier, we're pegged at the red line, and people are working on this problem, and there's a lot of clever people trying to provide technology solutions, but there needs to be a consensus for those solutions to be implemented. And with no real governance structure, except for Reddit shouting is the governance structure currently for Bitcoin. And I think somebody could possibly come along and do it better. And so Bitcoin never resolved its constitutional crisis. It's kind of true. We still have 1 megabyte blocks. We're maxed out at 2 or 3 transactions per second. And if you don't pay enough, then your transaction doesn't go through. So yeah, it's a kind of a good point. Momentum has shifted to Bitcoin competitors. What do we think of this knock on Bitcoin?
Uninformed.
Yeah, I think this is really, there's really no comparison between the competitors and Bitcoin. There might be a comparison to make in terms of media hype. You know, you might see Ethereum headlines just as much as Bitcoin headlines, but if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin's worth almost 12 billion, and Ethereum is worth less than 1 billion. And if you look at the liquidity, you know, Ethereum, these are denominated in Bitcoin, but 4 million Bitcoins are transacted every day, and only 5,850 Bitcoin in Ethereum are transacted every day. So, I mean, there's just no comparison to the depth of the market, the size of the market, the depth of the market. And, you know, also, you know, Bitcoin's a lot older. Bitcoin's about 8 years old. Ethereum's about 2 years old. So maybe it's not a fair comparison. But I think it's a little soon to say that Bitcoin is dead and Ethereum is taking over. That's, you put it, you're very polite, Will. It's an uninformed assertion.
That's probably less due to Bitcoin's strength and more to Ethereum's mistakes.
Yeah. Well, you know, Ethereum has a lot more room for mistakes. You know, they got a much broader attack vector, or lots more attack vectors, I guess is a good way. Infinite attack vectors with their, you know, it's very ambitious what they're trying to do. And, you know, I don't know if you still use a Windows computer, but you get a Windows update still every few days. Ethereum is attempting to be that kind of computer, and that kind of computer has, living in a constantly changing environment, needs updates. And how do you update an Ethereum-based computer? Where's my fork? You got to get a fork. Yeah, I mean, they've got all kinds of challenges. Somebody said that the Ethereum blockchain grew by 10 gigs in one day or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it's gone apeshit. I think it's bigger than the Bitcoin one after a few minutes.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just saw that kind of a headline, but they've got technical difficulties to overcome. But it's a cool idea. I mean, MadeSafe is like trying to do the same thing. I mean, the idea is out there, and it'd be nice to have decentralized Uber, decentralized name service, decentralized storage. But
do you think they've lost any ground? I mean,
the price has.
Because I think a lot of that's with the whole DAO situation. If you add together what the DAO used to be, Ethereum Classic, or whatever they ended up doing, splitting, it's still kind of a 1 to 10 ratio, which is what, when I first became aware of it, close to a year ago, it's kind of where we were. I mean, I don't think they've gained or lost. Maybe you shouldn't be saying that Bitcoin's out and we're taking over, but I don't think they're declining.
Yeah, the DAO definitely hurt them. And I think they've had a few, at least one fork since that time. But like I said, they're only 2 years old. Bitcoin is 8 years old. I mean, it's hard to really compare. And they're trying to do two different things as well. So what else is here? The old drugs and terrorism argument. I don't know. What do you guys think of this? Do you think, you know, this is the reason that they took all the cash away from people in India? This is the knock against cryptocurrency. I mean, is the world withering away because of the black market economies around the world, the drug markets? I mean, or do people care enough about those issues where they would never go near Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies because they think it's for terrorism, they think it's for money laundering, they think it's for black money? What do you guys think about that argument? That we need to be protected from these things.
You know, more than 90% of drugs traded worldwide are in US dollars.
You sound like you speak from experience.
And HSBC is the largest trafficker of
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, they were not dealing with pesos, they were dealing with US dollars.
Yeah, using lines of credit.
Well, but they put all those HSBC execs in jail, right?
Not one.
It's fake news.
It's fake news.
Don't say that.
I don't know. I kind of live in a bubble, but every time I see, you know, this kind of statement, it just seems disingenuous and kind of fear-mongering, and this is the kind of thing that you know, frightens my mom.
I think there's something to this. I don't know that people are necessarily going to say, I won't use Bitcoin because it's used by drug traffickers or terrorists.
And pedophiles.
pedophiles. I mean, I'm sure it gives a bit of a bad rap, but I don't know that that's what they're saying, well, at least by this small headline. I read that as most people don't care that much about the privacy of their transactions. That's not the fundamentally most important thing people want in currency, unless they happen to be doing stuff that's illegal. And so if a legitimate competitor to Bitcoin comes along that's super convenient, super fast, super cheap, secure, but not as private as Bitcoin, people will eat it up.
Yeah.
But the other,
It's like credit cards.
the other part of that though is just people don't use Bitcoin, right? They use Bitcoin to do something, and that something is just an application. So if it's I want to send you money, if it's I want to buy a piece of media online or something like that, and I think that's really the core of it, which is okay, what's the convenient thing that I do to make my life easier that just happens to use Bitcoin, as opposed to the article saying it's kind of like the other way around, right? So Bitcoin was supposed to do this. Well, not really. It was supposed to be, here's an application that makes my life easier. Oh, and by the way, it happens to be underpinned by Bitcoin. I think that's what's really missing so far.
Took a Bitcoin.
Buy Pulsar.
That's my favorite.
Buy
I don't-
Pulsar.
I don't know if we've found the killer app yet. Well, and then
Paying
this-
for my mobile phone is a killer app.
yeah,
It is.
you don't have to leave a house.
I don't have
You
to
can
leave
keep your pajamas
anywhere.
on.
Yeah,
You can buy Pulsar and electricity.
and electricity.
Gary, we were mentioning
That's
earlier
such a
that
good point.
if switching out currency or getting rid of bills would stop drug trafficking, then what happened when some of these Eurozone countries went from the French franc to the euro? Because they told the people 15, 16 years ago the exact same thing. This will get all the black money out. This will cut down, because you won't be able to use French francs. And there's big, large bills hiding out under some rock down by the river. And it's the same as it's always been. And people can't go back and look and go, well, we've done this before and it didn't actually solve the problem, so why would we try it again?
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of why I asked the question, though. I want to know how much oomph this kind of argument has.
Well, the number one killer in the 20th century, other than natural death, was governments. So they say it's killer, but yes, drugs kill people. Yes, all terrorism kills people. But there's other bigger things going on. Ford F-150 trucks, governments. There's just bigger things going on. So people, I think, are just like, you know what? These are bad things, but it's control. They don't have control of it, so they don't like it. So they tell you it's killing babies worldwide, and it's like, no, it's not.
It's like, isn't it like cheaper? Like, if you don't have a war on drugs, drugs become cheaper. Everyone's safer. There's no bloodshed. And even Silk Road, that saved a lot of people dying in dark alleys. And the quality of drugs was better too, because you've got feedback systems, so people weren't dying of bad quality drugs.
Do you find that argument holds water with the people that you talk to, or do people say, no, we're not having heroin on the shelf at CVS?
Yeah, it holds water with the people I talk to, because they're like you.
Because you hang out with the derelicts of society.
The people who have stepped out of the matrix.
That's what they're doing in Portugal. In Portugal, they're showing amazing results with legalizing drugs.
Yes.
And Holland.
Well, the war on drugs is so 80s, 1980s. We got the war on terrorism now. We don't need that war anymore.
That's the whole point. What if we canceled the wars?
Here.
This is all
From your
about
lips to God's ears,
perpetuating
JP.
war on
well
anything. There's a war on.
That which you resist persists.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we got anything else to talk about here. Shark Tank. Shark Tank. Well, it's just Shark Tank in South Africa. Anybody recognize this guy right here? Vinny Lingham. He's a Bitcoin bull. He's talking about Bitcoin price increases on the horizon. And what's cool about this is, this is a show that was pioneered in the United States, but they took it to South Africa. And this is a Bitcoin entrepreneur. He started a company called Gift, which allowed you to buy gift cards for Bitcoin. He sold that company and is on to a new venture called, I forget, do you remember what it's called?
Civic.
Yeah, Civic, right. And he's written a lot on Bitcoin and also made lots of predictions, which have subsequently come true. So real entertaining guy, real high profile guy in South Africa. And he's now on this television show. And the television show had basically had a company pitched, like a gaming company that had an in-game currency, and he said, I'll invest in your game if you have Bitcoin trading inside of your game. And he's investing 59 Bitcoins for 20% of this company called Augmenters. So that's pretty interesting. You know, even if this is just good exposure for Bitcoin. This guy that has become successful because he's built Bitcoin companies, and now he's on, you know, some sort of primetime television show and talking about how these people can use Bitcoin in their operation, and also making his own investment in terms of Bitcoin. Like, this is legitimizing Bitcoin as money. You know, this is not drug running. This is not, you know, the underbelly of commerce. This is, he's making, well, trying to make a good name for Bitcoin in this instance. And it seems like that's pretty cool.
His target for this year is 1,000, and 2017, 3,000.
What's that?
He has Bitcoin price targets. 1,000 this year, 3,000 next year.
1,000 this year. Really? Is he more credit? I like Willie's numbers better.
Why his number? You know when
Just gotta wait 4 years.
Yeah, he's bullish, and
See
you
how
know
many
he's
users are on this game.
when we were
Just
over
like
1,000, he
plans.
predicted 220 to be the bottom.
one of the reasons he's bullish. There's Vinny again here. With 1% of Indians investing money into Bitcoin, this price can reach $1,000 by the end of 2016.
That's the spike.
See, he's watering this
The problem
Bitcoin
with
plant.
that
It's
is only
going.
35% of Indians have internet.
What's that?
Only 35% of Indians.
We-
have
Yeah, but we only need the 1%. This is a 1%er, man. This guy's the 1%er. Forget about those people that don't have cell phones, man. Kidding. Anyway, it's interesting.
Jerry,
Interesting.
you got to fill in a survey.
Okay. You want to take over for a minute? All right, that's Vinny. All right, there's a couple more topics that I want to get your opinion on. We're running low on time, but there's some very important events. Do you guys remember R3? That consortium of like 40 banks that were going to revolutionize banking using the blockchain.
Yes.
And remember, we had that schism between Mike Hearn and Bitcoin. Mike Hearn dumped Bitcoin and went to this this consortium where all the big money is. And lo and behold, what is it? About a year later, Santander quits blockchain consortium R3. Goldman Sachs leaves consortium R3. And word on the street is that they need to raise about $150 million in order to continue their operations.
And Mike Hearn is looking for a job back at Bitcoin.
Read this.
Yes, I've got that up here.
You got
Yeah, here's from Mr. Mike Hearn may have succeeded in splitting R3 into two camps. He's just a
You got rid of Goldman's.
he's just a serial dumper. He's just can't
R3
commit.
is a failed experiment.
We don't know if this is true though. This is hearsay, right? But anyway, I have my theory is that, you know, how are all these big ego bankers going to get along? How can they cooperate? You know, I think all of these banks at one point or another have filed for blockchain patents. So maybe they don't want to cooperate. Maybe there is infighting. I don't know. Interesting. You know, we back when these things were announced, I think the Bitcoin faithful were like, oh, those bankers they're just jumping on the bandwagon and they'll never succeed because Bitcoin is way better because it's decentralized. And but I don't know, this is a little bit of vindication for that point of view, that Bitcoin, because it's decentralized, because it's open, because the cooperation is consensual and worldwide, that it really does eclipse these kinds of efforts. It's like a company intranet versus the internet.
Correct.
You know, the internet is better.
I heard it was like because the banks don't trust each other and because they're using.
Yeah, I just said that. I just said that.
Oh, okay.
You heard it here first. No, I probably read that somewhere as well. My own opinions. I usually put them elsewhere and pass them off as my own when we get together.
Wait.
Maybe it's
You're gonna
easy
steal
selling
our
press.
thunder.
Yes. Here, I pulled
No.
this up because our 25 shops in Paris ready to accept Bitcoin for payment. You know, this is what we're trying to do here in Ubud. And we've got about 40 businesses, but they're all spread all over Bali. And
Different businesses.
yeah, and we've been talking about the idea of making Gautama a Bitcoin boulevard. And I think it would be possible. And I think we could get some press for it. And I don't know, I just wanted to plant the seed that maybe we can get there February or March of next year. I'm committed to stay here until next April, so I think we should make it happen. I think we should make Gautama Street Bitcoin Boulevard. There's already a few over there that accept Bitcoin. And all right, one more topic, and then we got to wrap it up, guys. Largest U.S. Bitcoin exchange extremely concerned with IRS crackdown targeting users. What do you guys think of this headline where Coinbase has got to turn over all of their users? Is this a good thing? I mean, you've already got regulators that need paperwork from E-Trade, Scottrade, from Merrill Lynch, Fidelity. They've got to turn in paperwork to the U.S. government. So why shouldn't Coinbase also have to turn in information? Come on, I'm taking the company line. Doesn't anyone want to fight with me on this?
I don't think it's a real news story. I mean, Coinbase is a bank. Everyone should expect that it has to behave like a bank.
Yes, that's why I've been paying my taxes all along. But
What's a John Doe?
You should be crazy to use Coinbase in the first place. You deserve it.
well, there are decentralized exchanges coming. Oops, heads up. I mean, I've never used one that really worked all that well, but I know it's in the in the works, trying to make that kind of stuff happen. But I don't know. I think the tax system should be revamped in total anyway. And given what governments do these days, endless wars and bombings and things, I feel kind of guilty when I pay my taxes.
I know that.
So I don't know. I mean, I pay my taxes because I'm worried, they're going to come find me and throw me in a cage.
Let's make them out of here.
But I do think that this is this is inevitable. This is bad news, but to be expected. But it's interesting that this article says that Coinbase will oppose the government petition. And actually, in the United States, we have this thing called the Fourth Amendment, which means that if you want to snoop around, you have to have probable cause. You're not allowed to go on a fishing expedition. And there are not existing regulations that force Coinbase to file paperwork on behalf of their users. So, I mean,
because they are not technically a bank.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they have money. They have money transmitter licenses, and they do hold funds in a custodial capacity. I don't know exactly what regulations they're forced to comply with, but apparently asking for records on all their users is not part of their obligation. So
the trick is to not have anything to give them. So
right.
That's one thing.
Well, but I mean, companies like this need to exist for Bitcoin to go. I mean, there's a few topics to discuss. Are we trying to hide our funds and not pay taxes, or are we talking about the regime within which companies are trying to do business legitimately? I mean, all this stuff is being figured out.
In many countries, if you're a broker-dealer, you have to have a banking license, including Singapore or Hong Kong. Not in the US. You could be a broker-dealer in Canada as well without being a bank. That's how when you transfer money to Coinbase or any other broker-dealer, like iTrade or Interactive Brokers, there's a custodian bank behind it, like Citibank in case of Interactive Broker.
Oh, okay.
They're not allowed to custody funds themselves.
So it's more stringent outside the United States than inside.
It's outside most. Certain countries like Singapore is.
Yeah.
Switzerland is. You have to be a bank.
Okay.
No fold here.
All right, guys. We are going to leave it there. How many of you are aware that we have a YouTube channel? These things go right up on YouTube. Well, we stream live on YouTube, and these things go right up on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel. It's at The Filter Live on YouTube. And go ahead and subscribe there. We do this every week, every Tuesday night. And while we're not together, we get together on the Facebook group. Also, don't forget, we've got Bitcoin 101 coming up this Saturday, 10 a.m. sharp, right in this very space. Send us your noobs. And if you don't come on Saturday, come next Tuesday. Question.
One, does anyone want to sell me some local currency? I'm just going to pass in through here, so definitely put that up. And just very quickly, my name's Valerian Bennett. I'm founder and CEO of PopChest. So hello to you in person. So PopChest is a micropayments for video system. We're using Bitcoin micropayments to end commercials, let viewers send money directly to content creators. So content creators for video get paid for what they do, and hopefully can make more cool stuff.
That sounds
And we can all
fantastic.
get rid of commercials throughout our life. So we just finished up the Boost VC accelerator. So now I'm on vacation. So hello, Bob.
And you just can't stay away.
I
You
just can't stay away.
They pull you back in.
I had to
You
show my
can't
brother
avoid
what
the
Bitcoin was
Bitcoin.
all about.
That sounds fantastic. Maybe are you going to be around for a little while? Can we talk about in more detail next Tuesday, maybe?
Not next week. A little while, as in like the next.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll look for an opportunity to do that. That sounds very
Thankfully,
cool.
we have the internet, so I can join you remotely.
Okay. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for coming tonight. Don't forget, we're going over to Kismet after this. Scooter Caravan. Come spend a little bit of Bitcoin, 10% off, and we'll see you same time, same channel next week. Thanks for coming, guys.
Okay.